Hello everyone, welcome to SilverNode Devlog number 003. Um, we've got a few new features that we're pretty excited to show you today. For those who don't know what SilverNode is yet, it's a raw photo editor that we are building because we were kind of sick of the current state of affairs that editors were basically way too slow for us. And so we decided to build a new one. And this is one of the devlogs where we show you what we've been working on. So let's get started.
Yeah. Um, so this edition contains some more of the interface updates, I guess. Let me shift towards the SilverNode interface here in OBS Live. There we go. And yeah, take it away. I think this is mostly your part.
Okay, sure. The first part we'll be talking about are presets. So before we had the functionality to copy paste edits from one photo to the other. So that's pretty useful if you're just going through a bunch of similar photos and you want to apply a similar edit to it. And what we've added now is that if you're in a photo and if you've edited it, you can actually store it as a preset. So
Right. Yeah, so let's, for example, say that there is a picture that we've already edited, and we think, like, this is a good photo to make a preset from. What we do is store and then the name of the preset. So let's say portrait, for example. And then immediately you see on the left side in the panel a new preset thumbnail appeared, which is currently the only preset we have, as we only created one preset. But let's say we want to make a secondary preset that kind of involves a faded look like this, and we think like, oh, look at us, we made a very valuable preset, or like a very valuable edit that we want to turn into a preset. Then we could make a preset from this and say like store faded, for example, and now we have two presets on the left here. And then we can easily switch between them, which is nice. So like in the next photo, we can do the same and use those two presets. Yeah, one important thing to notice here is that we introduced two exposure sliders. We have one in the color correction section and another one in the style section. Like this is exposure and this is exposure. These sliders have identical effects, but the difference is that a preset contains all of your adjustments in the style section and not in the color correction section. So this way you can have an exposure be part of the preset while still you being able to correct, for example, a very underexposed shot. Whereas if they weren't separated, applying a preset would overwrite your adjusted exposure.
Yeah, the philosophy here is that there's kind of two parts in editing photos. The one is to kind of make it look neutral and make the colors look correct by adjusting for the exposure and the color of the lights. But then as a second step, you kind of have a stylistic choice in how you want your photo to look like. If you want it to be a bright photo, a dark photo, or any kind of color adjustments, and that would be part of the style settings. So of course, if you're applying a preset, you don't want to change the color balance of your photo. You just want to change the more stylistic choices you've made when adjusting the photo.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good time to go back to the grid right now. We have created three presets, so I've named them portrait, landscape, and faded. And now you can see that those presets are also available on the right in the grid view. And yeah, I think this speaks for itself. Like you can apply these presets straight from the grid. For example, this one. You can say like, aha, this one, for example, and then you see that this updated. Let me do it again with another one, another one. But you might think like, maybe this is too bright. Well, no problem. we can dim it down, and we are adjusting with the key bindings of with this slider the color correction part, whereas the preset was adjusting the exposure part in the style, which is a very useful split up, because now, for example, the artificial intelligence part of SilverNode that is not on point yet will make these corrections, and then your style can act as an additional adjustment on top of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And so, of course, these presets, they're saved on your hard drive. They're in a specific folder on your computer, so you still have your presets when you restart SilverNode. And in fact, you can actually even share them. I mean, right now they're in a bit of a hidden folder, but it's technically really easy to share them.
Yep, that's true. Let me think.
I think the last part that we still have to show is the advanced edits, which is kind of a really small thing, but
yeah, true.
we've kind of cleaned up the sidebar because there was quite some space taken up by some actually really advanced color science settings that you rarely touch. So
Yep.
we've kind of put those away under a little advanced check mark, and they kind of
So like
appear there.
this might be a good time to briefly discuss what they are doing.
Sure.
So like the temperature and tint slider give you the required freedom in terms of degrees of freedom. Like you can adjust the white balance however is necessary, but maybe in extreme cases where the original lighting under which you took the photo is so extreme that you cannot go actually as far as needed here. You can see that the white point being chosen is represented by this tiny white dot in the diagram, and you move that around with those sliders. But you can see that, like, imagine that the light under which you shot the photo is actually deep blue. You can go as warm as you want with this. The slider won't make it till the blue section. So that's when you can like go into the advanced settings, grab the dot itself, and just move it right there. In this photo, it doesn't make sense because the photo was actually shot under reasonable lighting conditions, but that is something you can do then.
Like imagine you're on a concert or something and you have a photo of someone in like a deep blue light. Then with this setting you can actually just correct it completely so that the blue is kind of gone.
Yeah, that's the intent. It will become harder for the colors to work out properly because a lot of data is then sitting in this far blue corner of your color space, and then that gets stretched open across the entire color space again, which might introduce some color banding artifacts, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe it's useful for these extreme shots. And then the eye domain thing changes in which color space the chromatic adaptation, so like the white balancing, takes place, which is the color space that emulates the color space of your actual biological eye in your head. And like throughout history, many revisions have been proposed of this color space to improve the color accuracy or the color results of white balancing. And like the most recent one, which is CCOM 02, works really well, but I found that under like again these more extreme those more extreme lighting conditions, actually the Von Crease is a very good choice as well. And it's very nice to just have that option because that could potentially make editing a photo a lot easier, because otherwise you have to start fiddling around with these kind of tools to like push colors around a bit, whereas the Von Crease adaptation matrix could just do that for you. But those are too advanced to be used on a regular basis, so we hid them under this advanced checkbox.
There are still some of those editing features that you're seeing and you're interested in what they mean. You should check out one of our other devlogs where we actually go and explain what they do, because they're are definitely a few of them that you might not have seen in other photo editing applications yet.
Yep.
My question. My cat is really trying to be part of the video.
I briefly want to mention that the way the code works in the C++ side of things now with the adjustments model is that I moved over the definition of the adjustments model to use DataDesk, which is a tool/library developed by Ryan Fleury. And it is meant to automatically generate some code that is otherwise very repetitive or tedious because C++ doesn't offer good code introspection. And like he made a tool to make that possible at compile time and let you generate code starting from a sort of like data definition. And that's what I did. I poured the adjustments model into a data definition for DataDesk and then wrote some custom code that generates other code that gets compiled into SilverNode. And like right now, it's pretty much impossible to make errors or forget things because everything is neatly generated in DataDesk. That was a nice improvement. So everything in terms of serialization, like saving and loading of presets, is handled by automatically generated code using DataDesk. So that's a nice robustness improvement. So yeah, shout out to Ryan for helping me integrate this in SilverNode. That was really cool. Maybe this is stupid and small, but like it's been there for like 3 devlogs and we haven't used it. It's the show user input toggle on the bottom here. So like we can actually visualize what we're doing with the keyboard while
this is our demo checkmark
recording. Yeah. So yeah, I think that concludes it.
Yep.
Stay tuned for more, and we'll try to make more regular of these devlogs that are maybe a bit smaller in scope.
Yeah, I think it's nice also just for us when we're excited about having built a new feature that we can just show it to you guys and we're not boring you with like 20-30 minute long videos.
Yeah, true. Oh, look at this, how smoothly this goes. This is, I love this. This is so beautiful. Okay. Good. So yeah, let me switch back to the exit screen here. You can follow us on Twitter. There's SilverNode Raw as a Twitter hashtag handle thing. The Twitter handle. There's a website, silvernode.io, where you can subscribe to the mailing list to get notified if we release a version. We don't send any spam. Really, we haven't sent any email yet. It's just like for the first release. That's what it's meant for. So you can go subscribe there if you're interested. And please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel.
Because then you won't miss the next videos.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.